just at 7 o'clock, and we're going to call the City Council meeting to order. Will you please join me in the flag salute? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for everybody showing up tonight. We have a full council present. Are there any additions to the agenda? No? Are there any declarations of ex-party contact, conflict of interest, bias, etc.? Don't hear any. It's an opportunity for public comment. Has there been any submissions for public comment? Okay. Anybody have opportunity for public comment? Doesn't look like it. All right, that leads them to item number 5 is the consent agenda for November 3rd, City Council regular session minutes, and November 17th, City Council work session minutes. And I'll take motions from council.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Patty. I motion we approve the agenda minutes as presented.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as submitted. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Guess I lost my audio there for a minute. No presentations, no public hearing. That moves us along to general business, which is resolution number 25038, Community Improvement Grant 2526. And it's a final allocation with a decision. And we'll go to Jennifer on the staff report.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Jennifer Siciliano, the Community and Economic Development Director. Tonight, you're being asked to make a final decision on which projects to fund for the Community Improvement Grant and what amounts. A quick look back at last year, the city awarded $14,500 plus across several projects that include 505 mural, the Kiwanis wreath repairs, the Old Fellows mural, and Stayton Soccer Club and Spotlight Community Theater. And these are many improvements that the city is visible and can see. The murals downtown, the holiday wreaths are up on First Avenue, and the stage at Spotlight. All of the last year's projects have been closed out, and I worked with the grant applicants and finished the projects and reimbursed the funds. This year's grant cycle is budgeted for $20,000 for the 2025-2026 program. We opened the applications window earlier this year so that there would be more time for projects to finish. The interest increased. It went from 9 applications to 14 this year. Staff reviewed and scored each application using the same criteria previously approved by City Council. So a couple weeks ago, you had a work session, November 17th. All applicants were invited to give short 3-minute presentations. Council received the full application packets, staff scoring, and had a chance to ask questions of the applicants. So based on that discussion, the council expressed preliminary support for the following. For the table tennis at Pioneer Park, it was adjusted from $5,000 to $4,825, and that's because we thought that people could bring their own paddles and bags to the table tennis and the cornhole bags. The applicant was asked to get approval from Parks and Recreation Board to work with them for placement in the park. The second one was the Santiam Teen Center for $1,100 to weatherize and secure an existing ADA ramp at the Teen Center, and to coordinate with Public Works before they go ahead with construction. Since it's a city-owned building, flowing through time for $4,350. That is what they requested for 3 new mural areas at the Oddfellows mural. The applicant is asked to work with Public Arts Commission on design approval. The Brown House was the next one, requested to be funded for $2,000 for landscape maintenance, professional trimming, weeding, composting, bark application. Then we have Spotlight Theater safety improvements for $4,945.21 is what they provided in their budget. This includes lighting upgrades and an ADA sink. The applicant did provide an itemized quote at the work session. And then next was Saving Lives. There was $2,000 pending final approval. They were asked to provide a revised budget for the work session. So each workshop would be $481 and trained 6 people for one class, and they asked for 10 classes. The applicant is here if you'd like to ask him questions. And then the last one is the North Santiam Service Integration Team, and they were suggested to get $1,200, which was the money that was left over. That would support emergency assistance to Stayton residents. The original request was $5,000. So tonight, as I said, you're being asked to vote on a resolution to determine which projects would be funded and for how much, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. This is an opportunity for public comment on this resolution. Okay, don't have any. Council discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Patty.
thank you so much. I don't know if this is discussion more so directed at Jennifer. First off, Jennifer, thank you for this report. I just was wondering, as you've gone through this process this year, do you have any suggestions for improvement of the criteria and things like that? Or is that something that you'd like to revisit when you have more time to prepare kind of a staff report on that?
I think every time we do it, we refine what the objectives are. Like, for instance, the threshold criteria, we didn't want to increase any ongoing costs to the city. That was something that we put in that we didn't want to, but I heard that at the work session you had suggested that maybe more points are given to something that hadn't been funded before to spread the money around. That could be something we could add, and I could bring that before we do the next round.
I like that. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Sims.
I just had a couple questions on the Saving Lives grant.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says 6 participants for $481. Are these going to be Stayton residents? And I guess the other question I had was, is this run through the fire department or is this another private organization? I'm just a little more information on that grant would be good.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
come on.
Also,
Councilor Carey, go ahead.
That same line right there. When Scott comes up, we'll talk to him. I'd like to find out more about the other entities that he's
Agreed.
Seeking out.
Yep, thanks. Scott, want to come on up? We have a new audio system, so if you push that red button, it should turn red, and that means go.
Scary. All right. So I'll start over here with Mr. Sims. You were asking about the entity that it's going through. It is going through my business operation called MedProEd, which is short for Medical Professional Educators. And I am coincidentally a lieutenant and a paramedic in this community with Stayton Fire District, but it's not a Stayton Fire District endeavor at all at this point. it is my hope that in the future I might be able to influence that. But right now, this is essentially a launch, a kickoff, a starting point, really. So let's see. So the other piece of your question, what was that?
So are you guess 6 participants per $481? Is that going to be Stayton residents? Are we vetting that, or is this open to the public or from around the area?
Well, it's intended for Stayton residents and anyone that is. When I say Stayton residents, I'm thinking in terms of people either within the city or that do business in the city. You might have people outside the city limits that come in and shop at Safeway and things like that, but an emergency can happen anywhere. So I'm looking at the immediate surrounding community.
Okay, thanks.
And then you were asking, Mr. Carey, clarify again?
You had mentioned at the session that you were going to reach out to other entities about supporting you. How's that funding look on top of what we are considering this evening?
So my vision or concept, I had presented 2 different budgets last time at your work session. One of them was just specific to this grant. The other was an overall goal of trying to accomplish getting 500 people in the community trained in 2026. So the involvement with this grant being between January and June would be focusing on local residents and people that are potentially responding to family, friends, and neighbors in this community. So that is the focus as far as the intent behind what I was trying to present. Did I answer your question?
It does. Does a fire station also offer first aid, CPR?
No.
It does not.
No.
Okay.
That's part of the reason this has been in my mind for many years. This is actually an idea of mine that I've had for 20 plus years since I was full time as a paramedic firefighter and a captain. And now I'm at a point in my career where I can actually take my resources and skills and try to turn them into something like this. So my envision, as far as your question, is the other monies that would be applied. That's ongoing. This is the first. But for instance, I am initiating communications with other nonprofit as well as sponsorships. Say through like Key Bank, I've talked with them and asked, hey, would you be willing to consider supporting this community effort through a sponsorship versus a grant? So I am pursuing any avenue that is potentially going to support the endeavor. But right now, this is the only one that I have applied to.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Can you maybe give us an overview of the distinction between what you're potentially providing versus CPR first aid class offered by somebody else?
Sure. I am actually providing a CPR and first aid class, plus training on how to use Narcan in the case of an opiate overdose, as well as stop the bleed and emergency training that doesn't happen in standard first aid classes, which goes another step. For instance, if we had an industrial accident or heaven forbid a shooting, citizens are trained on how to stop immediate life-threatening bleeding that involves using a tourniquet or packing a wound that cannot receive a tourniquet to work. So it's preparing and enabling people to be able to do life-saving things that can make a difference before EMS and even ever gets there, because a lot of the times people don't survive those injuries because of time that is working against them. And so by training the citizens and empowering the public, we're actually increasing the potential for friends, family, and neighbors in the state and community to survive such an event.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the reception will be to your offer from the community? Like how many people you think will show interest and want to attend?
My anticipation is that it would be high because the majority of people who have thought about it or considered it can't afford it. If you were to go attend one of these classes just for first aid, CPR, and not including the Narcan and save the bleed type training, you're looking at $125, $130 a person for people to go attend these classes. What I'm trying to do is make it so that for every person that attends one of these classes, I could ultimately get to the point that every person's family is present at these classes, so that people in our community, including not only adults, but teens and children 12 and up that could be trained, are empowered with this type of knowledge and understanding. Because in the panic of an emergency, our brains short circuit, but with the empowerment of training, people are more apt to actually step in.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor
a
Carey.
couple more questions. One is, have you thought about teaming up with the school district in terms of this training for all the coaching staffs and the administration and teachers?
I'm open to it, but they already have their own system.
Right.
So, I mean, I would support it 100%. In fact, through Stayton Fire District, I have assisted and participated every year for many years in the first aid CPR training that is done with the middle schoolers. And so I would involve myself in any way I can, whether it's through this endeavor or another one. So I would hope that this would open doors to be able to pursue things such as that.
Second question, real quick, is what was it like financial board or accountability group that you'll be going to or helping you to maintain the funding?
As far as, you mean the management of the funds that come in? So I've done grant writing and grant work for decades in the EMS and fire world. So at this point, because this is not a big, huge, federal grant like things that I've dealt with in other venues, I would be managing it myself here locally. So I would be the point of person that is responsible for the reports and all the requirements of the grant and grant administration, which I have a lot of experience with.
Thanks, Councilor Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for presenting yourself for some more scrutiny and questions on this one. I just maybe I missed it in your original packet, and if so, I'm really sorry. What is the youngest age you'd be allowing people to do your course? And I'm just kind of wondering if that's something that you would try to cater to youth, or is this mainly to adults?
No, we'll cater to youth. Anybody that is trainable can be trained.
Yeah.
There is not an age requirement. However, the American Heart Association has a recommendation with the education guidelines and that they use, and that generally is from 12 and up. Part of that is because a lot of the times kids that are younger can't physically do some of the CPR and things like that, but I'll teach and train anybody to the level they're capable of doing. Also, another thing that's really cool is there's a program that was started a couple of years ago through the American Heart Association that is called, let me think, what is it called? The BLS Advisor. So I can train people who physically cannot do CPR because they have physical restrictions, and maybe they're wheelchair bound, but they can be trained on how to coach somebody to do CPR in the moment and be certified to do that. So I can even train people on how to get someone else who's scared and frightened in the moment, who doesn't know what to do, and can actually direct them because they've passed a class where they have demonstrated that they can step someone through the process at the moment in time. So really the possibilities are vast, and I'm looking to just get started so that those doors can be opened.
Anybody else? Scott, one more question. So if you had the $2,000, how many classes would you offer?
2,000 divided by about the 480. Right. So, because that's one of the challenges, and that's why these courses are so expensive for people to run, is because of the materials and the instructor costs. The instructors have to go through a lot of training and certifications and approvals and testing in order to be able to teach, and then they have to be able to demonstrate their teaching ability on an ongoing basis to be able to continue to be certified. So a lot of those various costs make it pretty darn expensive for a standard course.
Okay.
And so in a case like this, my concept in my head, it's really challenging to be able to provide a budget that says it would be this much, because let's say, like in the venue section, let's say we don't end up having to use the venue amount that's suggested there, because we end up being able to do the classes, say here, for example. So that money could be transferred and used to train more people. So, but the challenge can be, like, for instance, the Brown House, it offered to let me teach classes there. There's another business that has offered to let us rent space and teach there, which supports a local business in the process of providing this training. But that, so that's one of the challenges with this. It's kind of more fluid than where something you just have, I need these materials to accomplish these tasks. But the benefit is any money that doesn't have to get spent over here can be moved over here, and we just train more people.
Gotcha. So roughly and I appreciate the explanation, but targeting, looks like 24 people in about 4 classes, right? That's what you're looking for here.
If you went for 2,000,
Yeah.
my original request was 5,000 to be able to train at least 60 people
Gotcha.
in the community. And then, of course, my vision is that by the time I get other entities involved and this continues into 2026, that we would see hundreds. If I don't know if you saw it, but the one budget that I gave you with all the colored headings and everything, it shows that my goal is 500 people to be trained in Stayton in 2026. So this is just a part of that.
Gotcha.
And my envision, my wild idea is, out of I think we're around 8,000 people in the population. I would like to train at least half, if not more than half of our population. I can tell you as a paramedic and a firefighter that shows up on these instances where there were opportunities that someone could have been saved, but they were not, that this is what can potentially change that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Scott? Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Very well, sir.
All right, council, further discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ort.
I had a question about the table tennis and the cornhole games. So that Jennifer, you were talking about the criteria being that it wouldn't be like an ongoing expense. How long do we anticipate, like, once we make these? I know it's going to be out of concrete, but like, how long are they supposed to last? What needs to be done to maintain them? Things like that.
Jennifer, do you want to do that, or do you want to have the applicant come up?
Is the applicant here? Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on up, Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol Siebens. So so they all have a 10-year warranty on them. And I said, these are going to be outside. Is that going to be a problem? And he said, no, these are designed to be outdoor tables. And he said some of them last well beyond the 10 years. So the concrete cornhole, I don't see that expiring after 10 years. Although we all know how juveniles can, who knows? There's that. And the table tennis, he said it's a 10-year warranty. So I haven't seen them personally. I called, found out. So that's what I was told, 10 years.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so do you know what the warranty covers?
No. I mean, I'm assuming they're warranted to last for 10 years.
Oh, okay. Got it. So their expected lifespan is 10 years.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else before I let Carol go back to the audience? Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, council. Further discussion.
Mr. Mayor.
Council Ort.
For the sit team, is there, do they have like specific items that they were going to use this for, or does it just go into the pot for emergency funds? Do we know?
Can you repeat that question, please?
So for the 1,200 here that we have, is that going to go just into the sit team's pot of like their money that they dole out, or is it going to go to specific items?
Yeah, great question. That question was posed at the work session, and we were assured by Kim that it would be directly for Stayton residents'
Okay.
needs.
Okay. I know she does a good job of, because she has different pots of money that can only be used for specific
Right.
purposes. So
Yeah.
I know she has a good handle on that.
Yeah, she didn't elaborate as far as how it would be used specifically, but we did ask her about having it directed just to Stayton residents because it was Stayton taxpayer dollars, and she said absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, council. Councilor Sims.
That's on. I'm pretty happy with how the dollars flow through the different grants. I mean, I don't have any problems. I don't know if anybody else had any changes, but I like how it's set up and doled out. So
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Hayes.
yeah, just a couple of things I want to bring up. And I know you probably couldn't say anything about it. When it comes to the table tennis, and we got 10 years on it, but it'd also be nice if somebody went and looked at how they're built, this, that, and the other, and how they might be maintained later after, see if we can get a few more years out of them, painting or whatever. That's something I just didn't hear. And as we're saving lives, I'd like to see some donation of space venue to do that. This one kind of hits me pretty hard because I've had to use this. I've had to do it, in my past work and things like that. Had to use an AED once. Not a fun thing, but, I had to use it once. And so I know the importance, especially. So to have to pay for a venue, I would see more volunteer of donation of space where that can happen to help with the cost and things like that and get more people in. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Ort. You have anything else? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Carey.
the Spotlight Community Theater safety, I don't see anything mentioned in here unless I'm missing the window repair. Is that included in that part of it?
No, that was
That wasn't it. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
That was not. That was yeah. All right, Council, what would you like to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ort.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 25-038, authorizing grant projects with the designated amount to be spent in the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Second, Counselor Patty.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve resolution number 25038, community improvement grant for 25-26, as presented in the agenda tonight. Any further discussion? Melanie, can you poll the council, please?
Counselor Hayes,
Yes.
Counselor Ort,
Yes.
Counselor Patty,
Yes.
Counselor Carey. Yes. Counselor Sims.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I keep turning this thing back on. One item for me that I'd like to see added to the criteria for next year is we we talked about it last year. One of the applicants last year was a tax exempt government agency. And I asked that question, are they tax exempt? And the answer was yes. And that didn't really sit well with me. So I'd like to make sure that maybe those folks aren't necessarily considered because they were a government agency already and that's taxpayer dollars already. So just a little one for me. In addition to the comments that Councilor Patty talked about at the work session, it was the same people coming to ask for the same thing. We got to have a little diversification. So, okay, thanks, Council, on that one. Good deal. That leads us to communication from city staff. Alyssa? Nothing?
I don't have anything for you tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Easy meeting tonight. It leads us to communication from the mayor and the council. And then, as always, I'll let the council go first.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Hayes.
James, I'd like to report something to you that I'm very proud of. One of my dogs and I went for a walk to St. Anne Park, and I'm proud to say there are 2 new pillars up on that gazebo, and I'm excited to see the other 2 finished, but I feel much better about its strength now. It was really good to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Patty, looks like you got your button.
Yeah, I did. I'm trying to get used to this new thing. It's really loud if you touch it hard, guys, just so you know. I went and presented before school board last Thursday. A lot of the questions centered around the information about the pool levee failure. A lot of concern from our partners on that and how that will impact operations there. And then I just let them know about, obviously budgetary shortfalls and, the concern about possibly closing the facility if we don't have any funding for it. But I encouraged everybody to be engaged throughout that process as we make decisions on what to do next there. And so just letting Julia know about that, I guess, and staff. So that's probably going to come. Questions and requests for attending meetings where we're deciding things on that. So, yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, that leaves it to me, I guess. One note of communication for me, I went to the tree lighting for RDS on Saturday downtown. You guys do a great job with that event, let me tell you. They pour their heart and soul into trying to create events for the folks downtown to come and shop and visit and be interactive with each other. And it was great to see the Grinch and other folks there in attendance. So that was neat. Santa Claus was there. Really great job there. And I would really commend RDS for their efforts. It was look how many events they put on during the year, accumulating in what they did this past weekend. So hats off to those folks for all the time and effort and commitment they put into making downtown a great place to be for people. Which leads us to a reminder for us, for the city, on Friday, right? I want to make sure I don't get this wrong. Friday at what time? Friday at 6 in front of her library, on the side of the library, right out here, I guess. We will have the City of Stayton Christmas tree lighting. So I encourage everybody to show up for that one and participate. And when you're done with that, maybe you can cross the street and go downtown and go shopping again. So I will, just an FYI, Barry's not here, but I want to give a brief update about the supplemental impact statement released by the Army Corps of Engineers. That was released earlier in the month. They had a review session for 30 days. Our congressional delegation has sent a note to the Corps asking the Corps to extend that review time because it's not necessarily enough time for people to really dive into it during the holidays. So there's that effort on their behalf. We appreciate that. I don't know how that was received. I don't know if there was a reaction from the commander on that, but that was what took place last week. So look forward to that being updated the next time we see Barry, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There is another slate of openings for the committees that have volunteers that need to step forward. And I think it's on the city website, Facebook page. Off the top of my head, it's Parks Board, Budget Committee, Arts Commission. Is that it? No. Yes.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
again, to always beg and borrow and steal, we'd love to have people come up and help participate in that to really shape the community and be involved. So if you have any interest out, look at the website and follow the directions. I think it goes to either Melanie or to Alyssa, one of the two. So, and with that, go ahead, Councilor Curry. Yeah.
Scott, as we move along with this, number one, we're excited you came to us. It's going to be fun to watch this grow. Will you give us periodic updates as you progress with your business? All right, thank you.
And I think, unless anyone has anything else, that's it for me. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody.